So good morning, everyone. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas, benvinguts, benvindos, benveniu. Welcome to the ICTUSNet final dissemination event. My name is Rosa Maria Vivanco Hidalgo, Head of Health Technology Assessment at Aquas, neurologist and leader of the project. During the next hour and a half, we are going to present what we have accomplished in this Interreg Sudoe project, and we will go into detail of some of the products that we hope you will use in the coming days. At the end of the event, we will have time for questions and answers, so you can use either the chat or the Q&A pad. And it's a pleasure to have with us for the opening, Alexandre Legol, Project Officer of Interreg Sudoe Joint Secretariat, and Natalia Perez de la Osa, Coordinator of the Stroke Program of Catalonia. At the end of the event, the Acting Director of Aquas, Montse Moarra, will share with us the challenges that projects like ICTUSNet entail for the health system. So Alexander, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rosa. Good morning to everyone. I just let Isabelle Roger, the director of the Joint Secretariat, say some words for introduction and then for closure as well.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. We are very pleased to participate in this closing event of the ICTUSNet project, and thank the project partnership for the invitation, and mainly the lead partner, Agencia de Calidad y Avaliación Sanitarias de Catalunya. Was from the beginning, this project drew our attention to its objective and expected results. Since the Joint Secretariat, we have closely followed all the success achieved, and in particular, as you said before, Alexandre Legol, who was the project interlocutor within the Secretariat. So I give him the floor, and I will conclude the intervention of the Joint Secretariat.
Thank you, Isabel. I just have a few sheets to show you to give you a very brief overview of how we see the ICTUSNet project within the Interreg Sudoe program. So really, we have right now 95 approved projects in this 2014-2020 program, which cover a very broad scope from culture, environment, innovation, and we have a range of projects which are directly related to health issues, and these are 8 projects, and ICTUSNet is one of them. For these 8 projects, the global cost is almost 12.3 million euro. Most of them have a duration of 3 years or a bit more. And the ERDF subsidy is a bit more than 9 million euro for these health initiatives. And you can see the scope is very wide. Within health issues, we deal with a very different problematics, from improving available technologies for to improve autonomy of elderly people, build networks in order to improve cancer treatment with a very relevant organizations, or offering new tools in order to follow up chronic diseases, diabetes, asthma in children and teens. Very innovative perspective. We have also fundamental research projects, really cutting edge scientific research for such diseases as hypoacusis, myocardial infarction. We have projects which deal with procurement or the way administrations work, health administrations, in order to improve innovation. And finally, we have a project ICTUSNet, the objective of which is to improve the follow-up of strokes. Very basically, you'll see it's a lot more than this. I wanted to show you briefly what regions in the Sudoe territory are involved in health research and health projects. And really, it's the wide majority of all the regions, even though there are especially northern and central regions in the Sudoe territory, and the very south with Andalusia and Murcia as well. And with the little green star, you can see what regions are leader in these initiatives. So of course we have Catalonia and a few more regions. Now, but moving to ICTISnet, what can we say from the Sudoe program? What makes ICTISnet so special for us? I tried to point out some aspects which I find especially relevant. First of all, I would say the project is focused on upscaling regional capacity in order to respond to strokes using stroke registers. So saying this, I'm thinking of the way public health administrations are involved, and it's a very important aspect. And it's a really a great possibility to improve life for the citizens. Then we also have a smart use of artificial intelligence, a very cutting edge technologies, but a very smart use in order to optimize protocols and processes. So it's not just innovation for the sake of innovation, it's really useful. You will see between the products of the project, we have a comprehensive tool. I think it's very impressive that will allow, among other things, to understand better the pathology, to understand better ICTIS, with a lot of data. And I don't think many other projects have such a comprehensive tool. And lastly, I was pleased with the way the project implicated patients and stakeholders at every moment. A very relevant implication. I have seen initiatives in Navarre and in Catalonia. So you have feedback from the persons who really are affected by the pathology. So it's also very important for us for the Interreg Sudoe program. So in all, I would say a very interesting and very good project. And thank you very much for your attention. Have a nice final event.
Yes, thank you, Alexandre. Well, it shows very well the good results of the project. So I can't imagine that you won't be interested to know if it will be possible for you to go on with the cooperation of the ICTISnet partnership in the future program. So before concluding, I'm going to give you some information about the preparation of the new Sudoe program for 2001 and 2027. I think that you should have seen it in our website or in the new letter we sent last month, I can remember. As we said, the program has been in preparation since the end of last year. And in this regard, we attach particular importance to the involvement of stakeholders in the definition of the future of program and on the challenges to which it will have to respond. So we launched a survey last month, and I think that in September, October, there will be another one. So please keep in touch with the information of the program in order to give your opinion about the possibility you will have to cooperate in the next year. Within the preparation, it's expected that the program will be sent to the European Commission at the end of the year. Hopefully, it will be approved in early 2022. Therefore, we hope that the first call for projects could be launched in a year's time, in spring 2022. So in conclusion, I would like to reiterate our congratulations on the work accomplished, and I hope that the ICTISnet project cooperation will allow all of you to move towards new horizons. So thank you very much for your invitation, and I wish you a good morning and a good seminar to close your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isabel. Natalia.
Gracias, Rosa. Buenos días a todos. Bon dia a tothom. If it's not a problem, I prefer to speak in Spanish or Catalan. Llavors, bueno, moltes gràcies per convidar-me. Es un placer poder estar hoy aquí para ver los resultados de todo este proyecto y toda la trayectoria de los últimos 3 años, todo el resumen de los resultados. Quisiera remarcar que el proyecto nació, de hecho, del plan director, cuando Rosa y Sonia Villeira, la directora previa, idearon y Rosa, sobre todo, ha liderado todo este proyecto durante todos estos años y en colaboración pues, con todo el resto de miembros del plan director, del Ictus en Cataluña, del soporte de Aquas, de la Fundación Ictus y, evidentemente, del resto de territorios y partners del proyecto. Creo que ha sido muchísimo trabajo en muy poco tiempo y quisiera remarcar sobre todo de IctusNet, creo que engloba 2 aspectos muy importantes, ¿no? En la investigación y en el avance en el conocimiento. En primer lugar, la innovación. IctusNet ha trabajado en el desarrollo de herramientas nuevas que nos pueden ayudar en la evaluación, en el análisis de los procesos, ¿no? Es un punto muy importante. Pero lo más importante desde mi punto de vista no es la parte tecnológica solo, sino cómo esto también ha ido acompañado de una parte humana, valorando mucho la relación entre regiones, el punto de vista de diferentes situaciones y realidades, el punto de vista de los pacientes también, siempre trabajando en colaboración, y creo que eso también es lo que ha hecho fuerte el proyecto, ¿no? Para poder integrar diferentes realidades y participación de muchos profesionales expertos en el tema. Así que felicidades a todos, especialmente a Rosa, por el proyecto, por haber llegado a hoy, el día que se presentan los resultados, y a todos los investigadores de todas las regiones. Muchísimas felicitaciones, y seguro que lo que nos vais a contar hoy pues bueno, va a abrir caminos para en el futuro poder seguir desarrollando herramientas que nos permitan mejorar en la planificación, en la evaluación, ¿no? De la patología del ictus agudo, que por desgracia sigue siendo prevalente, deja mucha discapacidad, cada vez menos, pero que todos tenemos interés en seguir trabajando. Así que felicidades y bueno, con muchas ganas de ver todos los resultados que nos vais a enseñar hoy. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Natalia. Thank you very much. So let's share the screen again and start talking about this accomplishment. Okay, so the final dissemination event. So the main aim of IctusNet project has been creating a network of collaboration between different regions of Southwest Europe, as you mentioned. We have created a research and assessment infrastructures that has incorporated innovative data analysis technologies willing to improve stroke care systems. The specific objectives were related with big data, strategy, and international collaboration using and developing innovative technologies to analyze the stroke care pathway, to improve stroke care plans, and to reduce the impact of the disease. And we have done all of this through fostering international and regional cooperation. This is our network. There are 6 pseudo-A regions that are part of the consortium, with 34 associate partners of the pseudo-A regions, with a budget of 1.3 million euros and to potentially impact a population of 20 million people. We started in 2018 and the project was planned to end on March 2021, but due to the COVID pandemic, we extended it until nowadays, July. I'm going to present the 10 partners of the consortium that have been working together with Aquas as the leader of the project, collaborating very closely with the stroke program, as Natalia mentioned. We also have the Barcelona Supercomputing Center providing their knowledge with the tech mining techniques, Instituto Aragonés de Ciencias de la Salud bringing their expertise in assessment, healthcare innovation, and best practices. Fundació Institut d'Investigacions Sanitàries de les Illes Balears and Navarre Biomed, both with large experience in stroke care, innovation and big data. Fundació Ictus, providing the point of view and knowledge from the patient survivor perspective. Administração Regional de Saúde do Norte de Portugal, providing the experience in managing health services. The Centres Hospitalaires Universitat du Montpellier and Toulouse, the largest centers of stroke care in Occitanie. And Open Evidence, a company with experience in healthcare research, especially in decision-making. This is the distribution of the 34 partners. These are the associate partners, mainly hospitals from North Portugal and L'Occitane. The project has consisted in 5 work packages. Through these work packages, we have accomplished different objectives, and we will get deeper on the next section. But let me explain briefly each of them. The first work package focused on the development and improvement of the regional stroke registry, with the development of a central registry that incorporated this regional data. We are glad to announce that now all these 6 regions have their own stroke registry. Congratulations to all of them. How have we created this central registry? After the homogenization of the variables to share in those registries, in this case, we decide to share a data about endovascular treatment, plus signing bilateral agreements between Aquas and the rest of the partners, also building an interoperability framework, and finally integrating the information in a unique platform and analyzing and presenting the indicators through a business intelligence program. You will see how it looks, the report of the region, using this tool when I present the website. The second work package was about the development of artificial intelligence tools. The aim was to develop or improve AI tools to mine and structure information from discharge reports and brain images. Marta Villegas from Barcelona Supercomputing Center will present the GRID tool developed with fully open source to text mine discharge reports of stroke cases, and I will present the imaging platform developed with Cumenta. Work package 3 was about analysis and benchmarking of stroke healthcare pathways. We have developed an evaluation framework with indicators from primary prevention, acute phase and chronic phase, an analysis of the primary prevention plans and programs and campaigns of awareness from the southern regions. We have developed a process mining tool that has analyzed the different pathways in the acute phase of a stroke through the mining of the healthcare databases, and we have identified good practices in 2 regions. We have also mapped resources and developed specific indicators of the rehab phase and follow up and complemented with an economic report. You will see in a few minutes more extensively these results. In work package 4, we have transferred the evidence to the different stakeholders. For that, we have created a specific action plan for the southern regions and a 10-step roadmap for sharing and convincing the stakeholders that the stroke has to be a priority for the system. In work package 5, we exchange knowledge, consolidating the collaboration and mutual learning. We have organized 5 workshops. We have detected and shared good practices and collected initiatives through the 6 regions to exchange the stroke knowledge and toolkits to improve and help campaigns of awareness. And you have all of the results in our main product, the IctusNet platform, a place where patients, survivors, clinicians, policymakers, software developers, and general population can have information and tools to understand, act, and assess a stroke. Wait and see. So, thank you very much. This has been IctusNet project. I have described very briefly all of the achievements and tried to transmit all the effort and hard work that during these 3 years all the beneficiaries have done. And before we move to the next presentation, let me thank all the members of this consortium, their work, cooperation. We all agree this project has suffered some downs, but many ups. And thank you to the people at Aquas for the collaboration. We can say that we made it. And now let's proceed with the main results. In this part, we are going to explain how IctusNet results can be used for the main stakeholders. Elsa Acevedo, Enrique Bernal Delgado, Francisco Lupiáñez, Marta Villegas, Miquel Callufé, and myself are going to go into detail of what we have considered the main outputs of the project. Let's start with the action plan and roadmap. Elsa, the floor is yours. I'm going to let you to present. Okay, good morning, Elsa.
Good morning. So shall I share the?
Yes.
Okay. I have it here. Sorry, just. I have it here in my computer. I'm just gonna finish, close everything.
Do you want me to present other product and then?
Yeah, yes, please.
Yes, okay, so I will go back and share my screen again. Okay, so what's this product? This product is the evaluation framework. We developed at the beginning of the project an evaluation framework. The aim was to provide an evaluation framework that went from primary prevention to the post-acute phase. We collected more than 100 indicators that assess every phase of the stroke care process. You will have both structural and output indicators with their corresponding definition, calculation, metrics, and setting defined for monitoring primary prevention campaigns, for example, for general risk factors, and for those specific, such as atrial fibrillation and high blood pressure. Assess hyperacute and acute phase indicators, and those for rehab and follow-up. All of these following international recommendations. This document is addressed mainly to stakeholders that contribute to the multi-sectoral approach of prevention and awareness of stroke for improving, developing plans, guidelines, campaigns, also for the development of stroke care plans and management of acute phase of stroke, to rehabilitation experts, to primary care physicians, patients, survivors, and caregivers. This document can be used as a guide to assess all the stroke processes and care pathways in your region. We recommend you to use it with this multi-sectoral approach perspective and engage your policymakers and decisions to use it. So I don't know if, Elsa, you are, sorry. You're ready to?
Well, I have it in my screen, so can you see it? No, not yet?
No, I'm going to, I have already stopped sharing and now the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm converting it again. Okay, I think, okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Thank you very much. So good morning to everybody, and sorry for this small delay. So it is my pleasure now to speak about the transfer of knowledge, and I should say that with this project we have learned a lot with each other, so we are more rich now that it is approaching the end. One of the products that I'd like to talk about is the action plan, and this action plan was addressed for health, mainly to healthcare professionals in the ICTUSNet regions. We tried with this each action plan that we performed for each of the regions to identify the areas of improvement in each region from the data collected and analyzed by ICTUSNet project. And also to update and improve the medical protocols and care plans in each region. So we have followed very closely the topics of the Stroke Action Plan for Europe 2030, and from we aggregated some of the topics into 4 main areas. And then we perform an action plan for each of the region that I am not going to show extensively, but these are examples of common recommendations for the regions, including some topics regarding the primary prevention. A very important topic is the campaigns to the population, also not only doing the campaigns, but also to evaluate the results and the impact that they had. Also focus on the acute phase to access to stroke units to all the stroke patients. Also to develop instruments and tools for registry and an integrated health records from all the stroke chain, and to promote also and provide an early supported discharge, to work on the secondary prevention with proper indicators and so on. But we have also identified some specific problems in each region, and then we had some specific recommendations for each of region. Another product is the roadmap. The roadmap was for stroke care was mainly addressed to the healthcare authorities, and the aim was mainly to try to propose key actions for the improvement of stroke care in the short, medium, and long term, and also to address and disseminate the final recommendations to key stakeholders to be incorporated into health strategies and plans, both at each national level, but also at an European level. This is a poster with the main results of this roadmap, and I'm going to speak a little bit of each of these 10 key points. The first one regards that stroke should be a health priority, of course. But it needs to be managed at a high level by governments' involvement and European consensus. So that's the way things can go ahead, we think. And the second point is that stroke needs an integrated organizational and collaborative strategy encompassing the entire chain of care. So from primary prevention to life after stroke, all the steps should be considered. An important also topic that we want to stress is that this stroke requires a person-centered model of care. So not only for discussion and sharing clinical decisions with the patients, but also to have a more individualized and personalized plan for the stroke care of the patient or for the stroke survivor. Now, entering from the primary prevention and in the stroke chain, the first point regards the stroke, that stroke is preventable, as you know, and have distinct risk factors. So we must have a very important action regarding the recommendations for healthy lifestyles, addressing all the specific risk factors that are important for the stroke. For the acute phase, it is important to stress that stroke is a time-dependent treatable emergency. So it is very important, the campaigns with the stroke signs and symptoms to be disseminated by the population, and also to have a very fine-tuned organized management of the acute phase, to try to have as many patients as possible to be treated in the adequate time window. But stroke demands also a continuum of integrated care and rehabilitation process. So disability can be reduced, and important topics are to try to diminish and to make disappear the gaps in care that occur very frequently in this way, and also we must have stroke information of this, also these steps, and to try to have a continuity of care and to evaluate this care also with the adequate tools. An important topic is this: the life after stroke does continue. So not only rehabilitation, but stroke survivors have specific health and social needs that should be addressed very carefully. Now, another global aspects are related with that stroke care needs data management. So we should and we must have systematic and standardized collection of stroke data so that we can have a more efficient approach, and not only stroke registries, but also protocols for each of the steps. Stroke care organizations need to evaluate, audit, disseminate health outcomes and results to improve. So we must have data to analyze, to monitor, and then this can make us to make the right decisions, the most efficient decisions to improve stroke care. And last but not the least, stroke needs innovation and needs research in management of care. So as you have already heard, this project also addressed innovation, and it is important to make a step forward in this domain. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Elsa. Let's go now to the rehab report and economic impact. Francisco, Paco.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Let me share the screen. Okay, can you see the screen? Okay, thank you. So I think the roadmap, it's a good starting point for these next two products, okay? Because the roadmap clearly summarize what we have been doing. So take these two products as a zoom into some of the steps of the roadmap, okay? The first one is the follow-up and rehabilitation of stroke patients, okay? It was done through a systematic review of literature. Also, a scope in the field, the indicators selected within each of the regions. For doing that, we interviewed the experts in each of the field. We reviewed the indicators selected by the regions, and then at the end we set up a pool of 47 indicators to do this follow-up or rehabilitation of a stroke. This allows us to have a map of the resources and structures of a stroke rehabilitation in each of the regions, okay? The same methodology could be used in other regions to do the same process, or starting for the 47 indicators, try to map these in the regions to do this in other regions to do the map. As a result of this methodology, we were able to identify the pathways from the acute perspective to a follow-up and rehabilitation, as it was mentioned before. We were able also to map this into the regions. So you can see green, yellow, and red, which are the areas that we were mapping in each of the regions, and what is the status in each of the regions for each of the areas and indicators. The conclusions is difficult to split the conclusions by a stakeholder, because I think everyone needs to be aware of these pathways and of the resources available in the regions for rehabilitation. It's important, as it was mentioned before, the evaluation is not an aim itself. It should be we should be able to use this evaluation to make improvements in the protocols, okay? It is also important, and we noticed this during the fieldwork process, the register should contain not just the acute, let's say, period of the health problem, but the full pathway. And we see a lot of silos in most of the regions. So it's difficult to understand rehabilitation as a whole process, as it was mentioned before. So it's the key message is that the rehabilitation has the key role to return stroke patients to their lives. There were several sentences that we are able to save their lives, but we are not able to keep them in a good shape after this. So it's important to understand that a stroke does not finalize in the acute, let's say, with the acute episode, but there is a follow-up and rehabilitation period that needs to be covered. And in all the regions, we have identified the lack of resources for rehabilitation, and also this lack of continuity, because there are several providers working on that, and they are not always in coordination. The second product, the socioeconomic impact, we follow the same approach with a rapid evaluation review. Okay, we based on again we developed the protocol. We identified the selection of the relevant sources. We did the data extraction and then the data analysis. And we were also working with the previous material on the indicators and dimensions to conduct this socioeconomic impact. We divided the impact in 5 main categories. So the physical sequelae, the economic consequence, the quality of life, the caregivers, and the use and cost of rehabilitation services. It's extremely difficult to conduct the socioeconomic impact for the whole pathway. So the acute part is, quotes unquote, very well organized, so to speak, while the rehabilitation, access to the information on the rehabilitation, it's more difficult. The information is in silos. And again, I get back to the roadmap, where we emphasize the need to have all this information linked and together. The importance of stroke as conclusions, again, for all the stakeholders, especially policymakers, but also patient association and patient representatives, as well as health professionals. The importance of a stroke has been emphasized before. It's important not just to focus on the acute, but also on the consequence for the basis activities of the daily living after the stroke. It's important to better quantify and address the impacts in caregivers. There are preliminary figures there that point out that between 3,000 and 7,000 euros is the cost. Okay, and also there are variants in the healthcare cost of a stroke, varies considerably across the countries. Okay, and again, as the final recommendation, and again linked to the roadmap, there is a need to better measure the socioeconomic burden, to put the focus not just in the acute, which is the key part to save patients, but also on what happened after this acute episode. That was all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paco. Let's move now to the training program and the toolkit. I'm going to share the screen, and Miquel Gallifer is going to describe this.
Bon dia, good morning. You have perfect. Could you put?
Yes.
Perfect. So good morning, bon dia to Tom. This is the work package 5 has 2 main products. This one is training program. The next one, please. For this knowledge of regions, we sent a question to every region asking for what are the training tools in every region. So at the end, the conclusion was that robot training is present in all regions, is prioritized, mainly focused on nursing and rehabilitation. And we don't find any evaluation or outcomes of these courses. So in a special training, we find only 2 courses regularly. In Portugal, they perform a neurosonology course every year. It's a very known course. And in Catalonia, we perform for nurses, a course for nurses in stroke that takes 11 years. But both courses are in Portuguese and in Catalan. Other training specific are only 1 year or 2 years, but regularly only these two courses are present. Next one, please. The product is mainly addressed to professionals, but we didn't find any model course in the regions that covers areas globally and can be exported to different regions. Next one, please. So at the end, we propose a standard methodology for the course and a minimum contents that all regions should consider for their training programs. So in the ICTUSNet platform, we can find this tool to perform a training program in a course and a guideline. And for specific training, we recommend two things. In Europe, they perform very good courses for nurses or for physicians or neurologists or neuroradiologists. And for instance, ESO perform a course in summer or in winter and are very specific. We recommend to adhere to these courses, but also we ask these countries, Portugal, ELSA, and Catalonia, if they want to translate these courses for neurosonology or nurses in other languages. So we are disposed to accept a proposal for Portugal and Catalonia to keep these courses in other languages of ICTUSNet area. Next, please. And the second deliverable was this toolkit. It's very interesting deliverable because it's a toolkit. Next one, please. So this toolkit, at the end, we design a replicable tool that can be evaluated and allows modular elections in the regions of this project. With this toolkit, we can perform a campaign. It has been a very hard work because we try to have a tool that could be useful for Andalusia or for other regions of Portugal to perform a campaign. And also we have a catalog for these campaigns. But the most interesting thing for this package was that we discussing in the group, we asked if we can perform a campaign in ICTUSNet, a real campaign in ICTUSNet territory after this project. So we decided that yes, and next one, please. We began to design a campaign, a real campaign that will begin in September when ICTUSNet is finished, and we decided that this campaign will be based in patients. So we asked Portugal ABC, Antonio Conceição, Adacen, Silvia Morena, Aragón, Miguel Lierta, Catalonia from the Sectus, and Aida Enreacer, Penelope Cruz in Portugal, and with Eusebio Castaño, Mercedes, and myself, we began to design a campaign of this territory. Next one, please. And this is going on already at this moment, preparing for this campaign, involving the actual territory of ICTUSNet. French colleagues declined to participate, so at this moment, only 2 countries of ICTUSNet project are going on in this campaign, Portugal and Spain. So, ahora en castellano, la siguiente. Esta campaña ya está empezando. Tenemos aquí los logotipos de las pacientes de las 5 regiones trabajando. El paso que hemos dado ya a las farmacéuticas, tenemos financiación moderada para la campaña, ya puede ser real. Y en este momento empezamos ya con profesionales. El paso siguiente es contratar. Hemos hecho contactos con los 5 profesionales de los grupos, con Carmen, con María, con Elsa, para empezar a trabajar conjuntamente. Pero en septiembre iremos a más extensión y luego gobiernos locales. La campaña tiene sentido si involucra a todos los actores de ICTUSNet. Por tanto, queremos una campaña que sea global en el territorio. La siguiente, por favor. Y esta campaña tendrá, esto está un poco... Hubo 3 fases. Empezará en octubre de este año, el día de ICTUS de este año, y tendrá como 2 momentos. En mayo habrá una campaña, digamos, en la calle, con carpas y físicamente, que acabará en mayo del 22. Esperemos que sea una buena campaña y que de modo u otro ICTUSNet tiene unos actores que antes de ICTUSNet trabajaban conjuntamente, Portugal, Norte Portugal, Aragón, Navarra, nos conocíamos ya, trabajamos conjuntamente antes de ICTUSNet y espero que esta segunda etapa de la campaña permita que este grupo ICTUSNet que venía de lejos vaya más lejos aún. Muchas gracias.
Okay. Fantástico. Muchas gracias, Miquel. Fantástico. Muy bien. So the next one is Enrique. Enrique, you can share the screen now.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is about part of the outputs that we've been deploying in ICTUSNet, and I'm taking some of them. First of all, many thanks to those that have collaborated in Work Package 3, in particular Rosa, Paco, and Miquel. And I've taken just, one of the elements within this Work Package 3 that was the a data-centric approach, an innovative way of analyzing the care pathways of stroke, in particular the acute phase of stroke. So this basically are the main outputs. So we've developed, taken advantage of some developments already done by our team on process mining analysis on real-world data sets. We have tried to apply process mining analysis to the acute phase of stroke care in all the regions within ICTUSNet. These implied, because of when you are reusing data from personal data from patients elsewhere, is very critical to have a way to exchange the information in a secure way and accomplish the principles of privacy by design. So this task within the Work Package also entail the development of a federated research infrastructure that allows the analysis that we am at developing, so the process mining analysis in the different regions. So to get as an output how actually things work in the different systems and compare. So all the effort is public and it's published as open source code. So any researcher interested might take all these algorithms out and just reply somewhere else. So this is about the outputs, methods, data infrastructure, dashboards with the results to be compared. And what these products were aiming actually very basically is to know how patients move across the system, how stroke patients in the acute phase of stroke move across the systems, how many of them move by the natural pathways, those present in the guidelines, and how much time takes to cross the different activities in the system, from the onset of the symptoms to the discharge from the hospital. So in the end, how to materialize these analysis is what we've done in this task in Work Package 3. And basically, we have used some metrics that the process mining analysis may provide you with that actually summarizes what we've the path of each of the patients that we've seen in the past slide in a way that's understandable and comparable across regions. So you might have seen on the left-hand side of this slide, the different traces of the patients follow, and you might have seen that is the overall patients with some stroke, and then we can distinguish between ischemic stroke and hemorrhagic stroke. And so, and each of the rows with these colorful rows represent the different activities, the different events that the patient is enduring along the care pathway. The frequency of these different traces give us a sense of the importance of some of these paths in the treatment. Some of them might be anomalous, so you may, for example, take this into account when evaluating the pathway. Then in the central figure, you can see how patients move. It's a summary of what you've seen in the last slide. So the patients move from the emergency department, for example, to the observation room, then from the observation room go to fibrinolysis, or they may move to and admitted to the hospital, to the intensive care unit, or to a regular bed. And then they spend some time in there and they are discharged to another hospital, long-term care, or they might go back to another high tertiary hospital, or they might go at home. So these are the different steps the patient might endure, and the number of them. So the big rows, the big arrows, the blue ones, big ones, are representing the magnitude of the patients passing throughout this path. And the thinner ones are those that are more infrequent. But not just the amount of patients crossing the pathway, it's also the time they spend between one and the others. For example, and as has been mentioned, and we all know by evidence, is brain is time. So in this particular analysis, the process mining focuses on figure out, discover what are the real times throughout the pathway. Some critical ones, for example, the time to fibrinolysis, but not just those, the time to get into the hospital, things like that, right? So these are the products, and you might find this in a dashboard, open interactive, that is in our website, in the portal of ICTUSNet, and you might compare across regions. So, but we also have a possibility to look at infrequent cases, so and see those traces that are enduring specific patients that for some reason go throughout the system back and forth from one place to the other. They may be good in terms of quality assurance to look at those patients. You can also look at the throughput times, as I said, is important time here, and compare across different hospitals in the region, as for example, at the top right figure, where we are comparing the different throughput times in hemorrhagic stroke versus ischemic stroke. So you may end up having a sense of what's going on when treating different patients in the same hospital and across hospitals, and so on and so forth. So you can trim the process in small pieces and then analyze and compare across regions, compare across hospitals within a region, compare across patients that are different for some reason. Well, who are the stakeholders this problem might be addressed to? We see three different ones: decision makers of any kind. I'm thinking of the stroke planning officers for sure, but also healthcare professionals of any kind involved in the process of care. So nursing staff, but also and doctors for sure. But maybe also the people that move this patient from one premise to another. For example, those that are driving ambulances, but most clearly for stroke plan officers, those that plan and evaluate the care processes of stroke, and those that are treating patients, in fact. Then scientists. This is quite a groundbreaking technology, process mining. Quite used in other domains of science, but not that much in our case, in a case of care. And then scientists, data scientists, and health, sorry for the typo, health services and policy researchers might benefit of the outputs of this, of the tools that are being published out of this analysis. And also IT people, because of the fact that it's not that common to build a project like this one on a federated research infrastructure. So building the pipeline to get the results decentralized and compile them in a central hub, who is actually coordinating, orchestrating the whole process, is quite brand new. And finally, what does the user stakeholders can give to the products? Well, the tangible tools that sound to you might be different for different stakeholders for sure, but for decision makers in particular, evaluating the actual care processes in the regions, how well they fit to the regional stroke plan. So compare, benchmark with the, let's say, theoretical plan, or what the evidence tells us about how to treat patients, is another option. And then benchmarking and comparing how different providers compare, as I mentioned earlier, how different plans compare among them will be some of the potential uses of these products. And for sure, researchers might benefit in terms of knowing how to perform process mining analysis at large scale using federated research infrastructure. So thank you very much. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kike. That's very nice too. And now we let's move to the text mining tool to Marta.
Yes, I'm going to share the screen. Can you see, Anna?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So, okay, this is the main product that we did in Work Package 2 that has to do with the text mining pipeline, right? So the product is these text mining algorithms and applications for extracting information from clinical reports, right? To easy the deployment and integration of the pipeline system in a real scenario, we also developed a tool that integrates everything, especially the pipeline. Everything in this tool is deployed into Dockers to easy the deployment and to avoid difficult installations. So also the front end, the back end, and the database, they are all distributed in a Docker, and also the text mining pipeline, which is the deep learning thing, right? It's also distributed in a Docker. So here you can find the links to the sources, both in GitHub and also in the Docker Hub. But apart from this main product, there are a number of, let's say, secondary products, but also very, very important that that we need to do in order to develop the text mining part of the algorithms, right? So this includes the biggest biomedical Spanish corpus that we collected data from different sources. We also ran a huge crawler to get data from more than 3,000 domains, health domains in Spanish. So we collect all this data and we managed to clean the data and so on. And at the end, we managed to have a corpus of 1 billion tokens, which is the biggest corpus in Spanish in the field of biomedical domain. Right. We also pre-trained 2 biomedical language models, one using this data, this big corpus, and the other one using this data in addition to the clinical data that provided by the consortium, right? That's why we say we have to pre-train language models. And also finally, the Suspects Spanish medical embeddings. Note that everything is published and available, right, in Zenodo. So you can go there. People from the clinical NLP domain in Spanish can go there and load these resources, which are really critical and important because there was a lack of resources like this in the NLP domain for Spanish, right? And biomedical pre-trained language models will be very soon also available in Hugging Face and also in space, right? So for the results and conclusions, we all know that an important part of the clinical real-world data is in the form of natural text. So in order to make this information accessible and actionable, we need NLP and text mining. So the objective of our work package in IctusNet was the development of an information extraction service that supports human experts when identifying and extracting information from stored and discharge reports, right? But the ultimate objective was to assess the extent to which the text mining technologies are able to meet the needs and the requirements of a scenario such as the one in IctusNet, which is a very demanding scenario. The task was complex and ambitious, we know that we had to deal with 51 different types of variables, but we are happy with the results. We can say that the deep learning models work pretty good, and we reach 91 F1 on average. So as a conclusion, we can say that the results obtained demonstrate that the use of language technologies, especially using deep learning, can be of great help in clinical information extraction tasks, such as the one in ICTUSNet. Okay, so for the stakeholders, our product is mainly addressed to medical software developers and also to researchers in the field of clinical NLP. To give you an idea of the impact of the results, these, let's say, secondary results that we developed, here you have a screenshot of the FastText medical embeddings we developed during the project in this design in Zenodo, right, which is a repository of research data. And as you can see, we had this 17,000 downloads since April 2020, right? So you can see the really impact of this kind of resources, right? So with such a, let's say, a specific, you can say resource, but you can see that we get 17,000 downloads. This gives you an idea of the impact of such resources in the domain, right? And to finish, what is the use stakeholders can give to our products? First, obviously, they can use the prototype tool and also the pipeline, the text mining pipeline as they are, right? Again, here I put the links to the GitHub and the Docker Hub, but also, and again, talking about these secondary resources we develop, there is there are super important this big corpus we gathered, right? This big corpus can be reused to train new models, right, in new architectures in the future, because this technology changes a lot. So, but the data is there, so we can train new models with new architectures in the future, not only with BSC, but the whole community, right? Software developers and researchers, right? And also these pre-trained language models that can be easily fine-tuned to different tasks. This means that once you have this pre-trained language model, that is very expensive to generate in terms of resources it needs and in terms of HPC, or high performance computing it needs, right? It's expensive in these aspects. But when you have these models, you can easily adapt them to a specific task, right? And here you can see that we adapt this to ICTUSNet scenario, right? Here you can see the results compared to other non-clinical models, right? But they can also be adapted to other tasks and other scenarios very easily, as we did. So we train the models with Pharmacomer and Cantenis, which are shared tasks organized by the text mining unit, getting good results. So this is essentially the summary, right, and the impact of the resources we did in Work Package 2.
So congratulations, Marta. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very, very nice job and very nice results. And let's move to the last products. I'm going to share again the screen. Okay, sorry. So you, okay. Now you see the screen? Yes, I can see you. So if someone can say that's
yes.
Yes, okay, thank you very much, Miguel. So another interesting product of the project is the IctusNet registry and its app that reproduces the registry in a local setting. We have created a website to facilitate regions to upload data of the stroke cases that have undergone endovascular therapy from their regional registry. How does it work? So you have your registry, your stroke registry, your regional stroke registry, and you send your data to the central registry through this web site. So each case is considered completed once the ranking scale performance is collected at 3 months. So we have cases from the start of the procedure to the ranking scale performance after 3 months. For uploading the file, regions have to have signed previously a collaboration agreement with Aquas, and all the data is completely anonymized. We have overcome semantic interoperability issues working with SNOMED team. You have access to a deliverable where we explain how to transform your data to be completely interoperable with IctusNet registry. And if you don't have a stroke registry in your region, so we facilitate you one. You can download this open source app that reproduces the IctusNet registry and is completely interoperable with the central registry. And also, as I mentioned, it's open source, so you can modify and add other variables of your interest. The app is addressed to clinicians and software developers, as you can add more variables, as I said, of your interest in your stroke registry. The central registry, though, collects information from a regional perspective. Let's say that you can download this app for your hospital, and then you have, if you want to be part of the IctusNet consortium, you have to be aware that you have to have data for the region, for your own region. Once you register data of the stroke cases, you can calculate the indicators and compare your performance with the rest of the regions. That is the use that you can have with this product. Another product that we have developed is the Imagine platform with Qmenta. Qmenta has developed a platform to test different brain imaging softwares. This platform is addressed to clinicians and software developers. And clinicians can upload brain images from stroke cases. Their own platform can anonymize the images if it's necessary. Then you can try and test different imaging software and compare their performance. And software developers can also contact Qmenta for add their softwares to the platform so clinicians can try them. But let's clarify that the aim of this platform is to try, not to validate algorithms. If clinicians and developers are interested in further collaborations, the platform offers a forum to discuss these issues, but outside this platform. Finally, the main product of the IctusNet project is the portal web or platform. The aim of the portal web is to provide useful information and tools about the stroke. This platform is addressed to general population, patients, survivors, and clinicians, though policymakers can find interesting information such as the action plan or the roadmap, or visiting the report with the performance of endovascular treatment of your regions and compare it with the rest. Even software developers can find interest in these platforms, as we offer open source tools developed by the consortium, as Kike and Marta has already presented. But it's better if I show you the website. You can go to the platform, either visiting the official page of the project or clicking platform.ictusnet.eu. Let's go to this one, to the official website. So this is the official website of the project. You have the information about all the deliverables, the information of the project, the participant, and so, and then you can click on this portal web, this platform. Okay, this is nice. Okay, okay, you have here these 4 tabs. And sorry, I have two screens. And okay, so in this tab you have information, general information about stroke. You can click here. What is a stroke, the symptoms, the treatment, prevention, also awareness. And this is a nice infography about these different phases of the stroke care process. Another tools that general population and patients or survivors can have interest is the selection of there is a selection of articles of interest. Also, we have collected some social networks that are related to stroke and patients. And also this APP, we have collected APPs that are of interest of stroke. Let's have a look. For example, you can assess your own stroke risk with downloading this APP that was developed with this research group. Also, you have this tool that allows you, let's see, that allows you to find where is the association of patients that is nearer to the nearest association of your location. Let's type my village. So, and okay, perfect. Yes. So again, sorry. That's again. Okay. Here. So the nearest, sorry, this is for all the Spain. So the nearest for some boy is I don't know now because sorry, because it's 10 kilometers. Okay. Now here in Samboy now. Okay, so it's the nearest association in my village. So you can try here and put your address and see what are the associations nearer to your village. So the other one, it's the report of the endovascular treatment. Let's click and you can find here a nice report, dynamic, with all the indicators of the regions. Okay, so in this report, you have the definition of these indicators, these KPIs that we have selected. These are related with endovascular treatment. So I can not go to distribution. So from now we have 2,332 cases. You can select and filter for year, month, region, or if the patient is the case, sorry, is of your resident area. If it's female or male. So from these 2,000, so mainly are half of them are male. And you can also select the for range of age. Okay, what else? So you can identify case by region. These are the regions that have participated. So let's see, for example, Mallorca, all the total cases, we started to collect information from cases from September 2019. Let's see, Porto, now Navarra, Aragon, Catalonia, Toulouse, and Montpellier. This is the total number of cases. About process, you will see indicators, mainly time indicators, symptoms to door, Down puncture, imaging puncture for every region. And then outcomes. So, but it's the disability at 3 months of the patients treated with endovascular therapy. And then you can compare the results between the different regions. The acronyms are specified and described in the first homepage. So congratulations to everyone. We have accomplished this huge work that was to transform your data, to make it interoperable, to upload the data to the central registry, and then to share it and to have this tool to compare all the different regions. That was one of the goals, the main goals of this project. So this is available. You can have access, and we have another tab for professionals with the documents of interest that we have already mentioned. For example, you can download this nice infographic with the roadmap. You can also have a selection of articles. That it's updates every day. And you can be updated about what's new about the stroke. What else? Congresses. We have selected the main congresses. You can also check the agenda. For not missing main events. Also in the tab of professionals, you have an exclusive area for professionals that it's completely free. You have only to register to this area. It's very easy to do it, and you will have access to the software of process mining that Kike has explained. And there's an explanation how to download and how to use this. You have to prepare your data model, and you have to install the Docker, and it explains how the analysis is performed. And these are the results of the different regions. And also you have this virtual machine in Zenodo. The other tool that it's available is the text mining tool that Marta has explained. You have access to this tool, and you have a video and an explanation of how this prototype has been designed and developed. You have this semantic interoperability report when we explain how can you transform your variables to be interoperable with the ICTUSNet central registry, and you can have access to this imaging platform that Qmenta has developed with us. We did a presentation of this portal web some weeks ago, and you have the video with a nice explanation of how the platform works, and also with we have presented a case. And a colleague from Hospital Clinic, Xavier Urra, has used this tool, and then you have access to this Qmenta ICTUSNet platform, and you have to sign up to do it. And I'm already signed up, so I'm going to sign in. And this is how it looks, this platform, and you have this information how to use it in their website. So what else? This is the agenda, it's already mentioned. This is, you can type this address and you can have access. So we encourage you to use this, to visit this platform. Hope you have liked it. We expect you to visit and try the different tools, and please give us your feedback. So these are the results of the ICTUSNet project. hope you have enjoyed it as much as we do. We are glad we have had the opportunity to share with you this experience. We want to thank also the Interreg Sudoe program, the opportunity to develop this innovative project, and that we hope will help in improving stroke care. This was our main objective. And you might think, what's next? So to try to answer these questions, let's give the floor to Enrique Bernal Delgado again, that will discuss possibilities and challenges for the next steps. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing.
I'm not going to share any slide. So we do have the Q's and A's later on, right, Rosa?
Yes.
Because yeah, I've seen
we will have time.
a number.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So yes, I will take just 5 minutes. It's quite a the nasty part of any project is actually thinking of how to continue, and this nasty part is given to me. So thank you, thank you, Rosa. Well, there are quite random reflections today, but there is something new on the room that we didn't know when we started off this meeting. Well, you all know that 3 years is quite a short time to develop innovative projects of ICTUSNet kind. You all might have perceived that, well, we are coming from different disciplines, from different countries, for sure, but also with different interests and expectations. So reconcile all those along the way is quite a difficult thing, and it takes time. It takes time to speak the same language, it takes time to align the different interests and expectations, and then do the work. It takes time, and when you think things are going on and tangible products are in there, then you have to prepare the deliverables, and you have to prepare the memos for the final event, and you close the program. This is quite a user way forward. So that the point is that I think we all share, the consortium members, that the willingness to continue in the future working together. This is why quite a high top of our agendas for the upcoming months, to think how to make it. Because in the end, as you as this very clear to think, it is a final event of the process, no more money from Sudoe program at this program 2017-2020. All the good news came up at the beginning. But in the end, this is coming to an end now, and we have to think how continue so. And the first thing is having the willingness to continue. And in our last meeting last week, the steering committee meeting, we decided to think seriously on of continuing So what we do have right now, I would define it and allow me all to be humble. We have the cornerstones of something that could happen in the future. So we have set up the basis. We have set up the foundations. For sure, tangible tools. Some of them have to be, in the end, this is a process, and some of them are more mature than others. For example, the toolkit that Mikel has presented is quite mature toolkit for healthcare promotion campaigns and raising awareness campaigns with patients and populations. But others, for example, the text mining is a very cutting edge, innovative approach to retrieve information from our records, patient records, but it requires not just being in Spanish, requires to be in Portuguese, requires to be in French, requires to be in other languages if needed, to be fully operational for any interested party. So in the end, we have tangible tools. We have even a roadmap set up, discussed in the consortium. So we want to, and we have the willingness to continue. This is the point. We foresee 3 ways of action, possible ways to think of this continuation. Well, one clear point is, let's fine tune the products that we have, upgrade those that need it, and translate into decision making in the regions. And we do need money for that. And this might be done in 1.5, 2 years time. This is one option. Another option is, well, more research is needed. Scientists want to say so all times, so to get more money, but no more research is needed, honestly. So the application of these tools to more data, maybe, to know more about post-discharge follow-up, maybe in the process mining part, but no more research is needed. So maybe it's not a priority, but we have to think about that again. Likewise, more text mining research is needed. Maybe not. It's just validating in different contexts, different languages. So, but more research, maybe not. So this is maybe not a priority to think of, but we have to think of in any case. And the third one is, well, what we have right now is sufficient, and we might translate it to another institution that takes care of it. It might be one of the institutions within the consortium, might be an external institution interested, maybe as an association on neurology or on stroke in Spain or in Portugal or in France. So these are the 3 ways forward we've foreseen at this point in time, and the governance and the financing mechanisms for that should be different. In any case, we have announced today, and thank you the Sudo Interreg officers, the news about a new program coming up and maybe potential funds. So my very first step would be, let's close IctusNet as it is right now. So let's provide the deliverables, and then let's talk September, October, November to prepare to see if it's feasible to commit with each other in the development of the proposal, and then to launch a proposal to the next call if we have the opportunity. Let's try to influence though and review the proposal at this point, and let's see next year with a new project, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kike. You're right, it deserves more time to think about and brainstorming, and it was great news to hear that from Isabel and from Alexandra from Interreg Secretariat, that the program is keep going, and their presence here in this final dissemination event is very important for us and for the continuation of this kind of projects. Thank you very much. We are arriving on the closing of the final dissemination event. We have with us also Montse Moarra, the acting director of Aquas, and she has some words for this project and to talk about the challenges that projects like this suppose for or entail for the health system. And also I think that Isabel wants to say something for the closing also, Isabel.
Before we go to the closing, we had some questions from the audience.
Sorry, yes, I missed that. I was willing to hear.
Everybody was, we had the questions. So let me, I will do the voice for the audience. So I'll give you some comments. We had first a comment from Arlene Wilkie. We'll ask the panelists if they could react to a comment, if there is any reaction. She says that this is not a question, but it is fantastic to see that the life after stroke and quality of life after stroke is being included in your roadmap. This is a great roadmap. Would you like to react to anyone? Would want to say something about this comment? Or
I have already thanked Arlene for the comment. Yes, the life after stroke and was always a priority in our thoughts while doing the roadmap. Thank you for the comment.
Yes, so this was not only about the patient pathway, it's also afterlife, any that is important in the project, yeah? Anyone? Yes? Okay. So we have gone beyond time, I will go to the next question. There was a question, there are a few questions from Rio Cesar de las Neves, who asked, how do you intend to integrate the information system that how do you intend to integrate in the information system that support your project with the local EHR at hospitals and Portuguese National Health Platform? And also Rosa Ramos says, and Spanish hospitals also. How do you see integration of the project?
So do you want me, basically this question is directed to my talk, to me, or as the Portuguese intervention in a member of this project. And I must say that one of the weaknesses that were identified in our country, and especially in our North region, is some immaturity of the informatics system, and also an important lack of data that is systematically registered in the informatic tools, so that it can be retrieved to allow us to have some automatic information of what is going on with stroke. This is a very, very important problem, I think, in our region. And so we could collaborate partially with some of the products of the ICTUSNet, with some difficulty based on this problem. And that led us to make another candidature that we performed in a Portuguese candidature together with the service with the part of the Ministry of Health that is the Ministry of Health that is related to informatic systems, and also with the National Direction of Health in a project to try to develop these tools within the health public informatics systems, so that we can have a more linear monitoring of what is going on, and to also produce the best decisions afterwards to improve the system. So basically, for going on with this, we need the support of the national institutions. And the second,
sorry, Isa,
okay,
let me clarify. Sorry, let me clarify that the regional registries are not integrated in the central registry. I think I missed this part, or I haven't explained it very well, because every registry, and you have a deliverable with the explanation, with the definition of and the explanation of how every regional registry works, and the description of every registry in the web page if you want to consult this. Every registry in every region has been developed at its own way, and then they have to transform the variables, and to be completely interoperable with the central registry, they have to transform the variables using this SNOMED-CT code. And then you have to transform this information in a CSV file, and then you upload this CSV file to this website that I have shown you. And once you upload this information, it's proceed to the Power BI, with the Power BI, and we centralize all of this information. And through this process, you can see these indicators. But all the registries, for security reasons, are not integrated with the platform, with the central registry platform. So you have to do this exercise to transform your variables and then to upload a CSV file. And then we have embed all this information in this Power BI, and you have seen these indicators already in the portal web that I will show you. So these are not integrated all together. So these are independent. Yes. I don't know, Kike, if you want to add something because you were typing.
Actually, no, I wasn't typing.
Okay.
But
yeah.
but I can add. No, yeah, I think Rui and Rosa are raising a very important point. So, and you have responded, Rosa, already about privacy and security by design. There are two principles to develop any type of study or project that is based on data that is at some point very sensitive. So both the registry and the process mining analysis, so the development, the architecture that supports the analysis is federated. And then, the data, we could say that data remain in premises, so remain in your house with your rules, with the GDPR application in your country, in your hospital, with the organizational rules that are, the requirements that your data controller posed on to get data secured. So in the end, it's about that. It's keeping the data, individual level data at home, secured with their own rules, and then share the outputs of that. Might be this CSV file that Rosa mentioned to upload into the secure environment of this web platform, or might be just providing us the aggregate information to publish in the dashboard with the summary results that you might have seen in my presentation with regard to process mining. So yeah, and what kind of data? Any kind of data. So it doesn't matter. We are in the end agnostic to the data source that you get data out of to accomplish with the rules. What you need to have is just have a common data model you have to comply with. So this data model refers to the different attributes that you want to look at, the different variables that represent these attributes, the operational definition, the categories that represents, and the format, the same format for all the regions. Once you have that, it doesn't matter whether the data come from a registry, ad hoc registry on Stroke, or it comes from the electronic health records, or it comes from another data source different to those. So, and then again, once you collect the data in your premises, then you just share the outputs. You don't share the individual data, even pseudonymized. So I think it's quite a secure environment, I would say, that keeps the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation at European level safe, as well as the local, national, and regional regulations and the organizational rules. I don't know if I added properly to your questions, Rosa.
Thank you, and for your answer. Rosa, since we are 10 minutes beyond, maybe
I'm answering. Yes, I'm answering some of the questions, and that are related, and I'm addressing the audience to the deliverables, and then we can move to the closing.
Okay, so I think if there's we won't be able to answer live all the questions, and I need to say we are an audience of more than 80 persons assisting to this session this morning. It's very good. So if anyone have more questions, they can get in touch with the consortium and the project, and so we can answer them in more details. And since our closing guests are here, maybe we can now proceed to the closing of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Thank you very much, Rosa. And thank you to everybody. Good morning for being here today. The meeting and the project is coming to an end. And just let me to highlight main challenges that this project has reached. I think that you have talked and reached about development of artificial intelligence tools, dashboards, and also products done with open source code. So you have coped with very well, I think, challenging the interoperability and integrated platforms with the support, of course, of all the regions. Also, regional agreements for sharing data between regions, a great achievement in this project. Training programs that we have learned here with a standard methodology to be used for all the regions. And finally, also, I think the results of the project can be transferred and the evaluation can be adapted to other pathologies. So thank you very much for being able to making possible to have results in applied research for the daily clinical practice today. And I think that good luck for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Montse. I don't know for the closing if Victor's, the Secretariat of Victor's of Interreg, sorry, would like to add something else or some more good news that we've mentioned. If not, we think that we can close this fantastic event, the final dissemination event. Okay, so thank you very much to all of you. And I think that we have recorded this session. You will have access to this session on the portal web also. And see you, I think, in the next days, during the next days. And if you have any feedbacks, please contact us and see you in ICTUSNet 2 or whatever it's called. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a nice day today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Until September.